Bye. Uh, Let me share my screen. Okay, so now it's visible. Huh. So, guys, I have you gone through the lectures? Like, is there any questions which you want to ask or something which is not understandable, or you have doubt in some questions or something? So, anything which you want to ask or something which needs to be discussed, because probably this is the last interaction session, and then we have a summary session tomorrow, I guess. Please raise your question if you have any question which you want to ask. Please. Uh, Good evening, Varsha. So, any questions or anything which you want to discuss? Nothing. Okay. So, if there is nothing which you want to discuss, then I think we can go ahead and have our this live interaction session. So, okay, let me share my slides. Good evening, all. A very good evening to all of you. This is live interaction session 12 of course Environmental Impact Assessment. The course instructor is Professor Harshish Susan Lakras. He is Assistant Professor in Department of Architecture and Planning, IIT Roorkee. And I am Rohit. I am a PMRF scholar in IIT Bombay. I am taking this live interaction session so that we guys can interact and solve your doubts regarding the assignment questions or anything which you want to ask regarding the weekly lectures or something. Okay. So, as the live session teaching methodology we follow on every Tuesday, generally we have discussion on the topic that are taught in the weekly lectures, and then we have doubt clearing session, and then interaction with students is there. Also, I generally tell you guys to ask if there is anything important, so ask them in the discussion forum so that other guys can also benefit. Otherwise, always try to. You are also encouraged to ask the question in the session also. Okay, so you can either use the chat box or discussion forum, or simply you can raise your hand. Then I can ask you guys to ask your question, and then we can uh, answer the question. So let's start with this sustainable development timeline. So basically, there is a lot of fuss around this sustainable word. So everything, everyone wants to be sustainable. Every company wants to be sustainable. The world is going to be sustainable. So we have our sustainable development goals also. So those are very comprehensive goals divided into 12 SDG goals. Then we have tasks listed in each of those goals also, and those goals are actually very comprehensive, covering eradication of poverty, reduction of inequality. So those goals, sustainable cities also. Okay, so basically, when you see the sustainable development timeline, so first in 1948, the International Union for Protection of Nature is actually found. So basically, this was the precursor of International Union for Conservation of Nature, and it aims to promote a unique partnership of government and non-government organizations. So before that, we don't have a very kind of unique relationship between government and non-government organization. So we just had World War II, which was very devastating for the European countries and the Western countries. So they were like, whenever they were like in the rebuilding phase. So they were planning for everything. So yeah, 1949, the United Nations Scientific Conference on the Conservation and the Utilization of Resources is held in Lake Success. Okay, so Lake Success is a town. It is first major meeting of the United Nations on the subject. The world's population reaches 2.5 billion in 1950, and now it is around 7 or 8 billion something. So we have actually tripled in last 50, 70 years. So you can see how far the world population is growing. Okay, the Harrison Brown publishes The Challenge of Man's Future. It develops themes that 25 years later will be covered by the term sustainable development. Okay, so basically the themes are discussed in that article, The Challenge of Man's Future, and later, 25 years later, the themes were actually more detailed discussed in sustainable development. Okay, 1956, the first person dies because of mercury released in Minamata Bay. Thousands are poisoned. So we have Minamata Convention also for the mercury, because this mercury actually caused a lot of disease in the nearby population also, and then bioaccumulation of mercury was also a very big problem. Okay, the International Union for Protection of Nature changes its name to International Union for Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources, that is IUCN. So I think throughout the lectures I have shown many videos that were basically animations made by IUCN, so that you guys can actually have a good grasp about what I am talking about. So IUCN, you always can go to YouTube, or you can learn more about this International Union for Conservation of Nature. They are very good organization working a lot of things, hell lot of things in the terms of sustainable development, preservation of nature and everything. And 1958, the United Nations Conference on the Law of Sea is held. It approves draft convention on the environmental protection. The world's population reaches 3 billion in 1960. So you can see the world population is in 1950 it was 2.5 billion, but in uh, just span of a decade it reached 1 billion also. So it reached 3 billion in 1960 on the World Wildlife Fund. Now the World Wildlife Wild Fund for Nature is established. So this World Wildlife Fund is actually a kind of organization or institution that funds or protects the wildlife. So whenever we see a different classification of vulnerable, threatened species, so all these things, and biosphere reserves, they do a lot of things in the nature park, biosphere reserves and everything. Okay, in 1962, this was a very important publication by Rachel Carlson, The Silent Spring. So it is considered to be a turning point in our understanding of the interconnection between environment, economy, social well-being. So before that, we were like we have to preserve the environment. So it was to be seen as a single entity. But now, when this Silent Spring book came, and basically in that book, see, uh, the crux of that book was there is a bird called robin, and then because of the pollution that we did in the environment, these birds actually the number of birds are actually came down. So this is the main turning point where world began to think that no, it is not about only environment. Everything is linked. The economy is linked with the environment is interconnected with the social well-being of the people also. So now the thinking got a good comprehensive manner. Okay, in 1964 the International Biological Program begins to explore the biological basis of productivity and human welfare. So this was also a good effort by the people. In 1966 the lunar orbiter takes the first photograph of the earth from the vicinity of the moon. So before that, it was established that earth is a round, but if you see the actual earth, it is not in a round shape. It looks round because of the atmosphere surrounding it, and it is kind of uniform throughout the earth. But earth is a geoid shape, actually, a kind of name given to earth only. The shape, earth has its unique shape, geoid. Okay, so people could see the earth, a blue planet. So that actually made the people think about, let's now think seriously about preserving what we have. In 1967 the Tory Canyon spills 1 lakh 18,000 of tons crude oil over the lands held. The Environmental Defense Fund is formed to pursue legal solution to the environmental damage. The founders go to court to stop the Suffolk County Mosquito Control Commission from spraying dichlorodiphenyl trichloroethane, that is DDT, in the marshes of Long Island. The East European Committee is set up by the Commission on the Education and Communication. It is the first and only international established nature conservation body east of the Iron Curtain. So Iron Curtain is something called an imaginary line where the countries were divided. The western countries were more of a capitalist country, and eastern countries were more of a communist country or a socialist country. So India, Russia, China, all those lies on this side of the Iron Curtain, and then we have US and European countries on the west side of the Iron Curtain. Paul Ehrlich publishes Population Bomb. It discusses connection between human population, resource exploitation, and the environment. And the Club of Rome is established. It commissions a study of global proportion to model and analyze the dynamic interaction between industrial production, population, environmental damage, food consumption, and natural resource uses. The Intergovernmental Conference of Experts of the Scientific Basis on the Rational Use and Conservation of Resources of the Biosphere, that is Biosphere Reserves, came into picture. Okay, so all those things you could see some 50, 70 years before the people started to think about this everything in terms of a comprehensive way, like to preserve nature, preserve the environment. Okay, and then World Sustainable Development Timeline by the UN. So this is also a very important timeline. The different convention that happened in, like the first convention organized by UN in 1971, the Ramsar Convention on the wetlands of international importance. So actually, wetlands are lands like swampy, marshes, everything. So these lands are actually very much important because in case of excessive flood or something, they absorb the moisture and the water levels, and then they provide a good breeding grounds for migratory birds also. So they preserve a lot of nature. They do provide a good what you say biodiversity hotspots also. In 1972, Convention for the Protection of World Cultural and Natural Heritage. 1973, Convention on the International Trade in Endangered Species of World Fauna and Flora. So CITES convention is very important convention. Actually, whenever you see the elephant tusk are being cut and then transported to Thailand or China or something to make powdery substance or something. So these comes under the CITES convention. Okay, so in 1973-78 Convention for Prevention of Pollution from Sea, Marpol Convention is very important also because ships are very large. They go from here, so we actually have already polluted our land. So people were thinking like, let's not pollute the sea, and we have a stringent curbs on the pollution from the sea. Okay, and we have in 1979 UNEC Convention on Long Range Transboundary air pollution. So this is also a very important convention because what happens, people were like, "Ki these air pollutants are localized, but now the effects were actually felt in apart from the region in which the pollution has actually occurred. Like if you have a industry set up here and then the air pollutant go up in the sky, but that air pollution will not be limited only to this study because there can be secondary interaction and then we have acid rain or something type of thing which can travel, the clouds can travel hundreds or thousands of kilometers and then that effect can be felt in some other place also. Then in 1985 Vienna Convention and Montreal Protocol for the protection of ozone layer. So at that time ozone layer was a hot topic because a large hole was actually uh, seen over Antarctica, and then people were like, "What causes this hole?" And then they find out that the refrigerants which we are using, the CFCs, are actually causing the ozone depletion. So Montreal Protocol was a kind of very successful protocol. It actually phased out the ozone depleting substance from the everything. So we don't have generally ozone depleting substance as of now because all those CFCs has been replaced with HCFCs that are not so ozone depleting or something. Okay, but the HCFCs have global warming potential. So this different problem came with the usage of their HCFCs. Now they are trying to solve this thing with different other refrigerant, like they wanted to use water or a mixture of water or some other refrigerant or CO2 in refrigerators or ammonia based or vapor absorption system type. Then we have in 1989 Basel Convention on Control of Transboundary Movements of Hazardous Waste and their Disposal. So what was happening before that, a country which is rich and powerful, so they produce a lot of hazardous waste and they dump it in the poor country. So people there actually had to suffer the one-time damages because of that hazardous waste. Then in 1992, Convention on the Biological Diversity was there. So in 1992, another convention, UN Framework Convention on Climate Change, that is Earth Summit. So this was also a very important convention, 1992 convention, where people started to think now we have to think about sustainable development. Other than that, in 1987, we have Brundtland Commission report also that actually defined this sustainable development term. What is sustainable? Okay. In 1994, UN Convention to combat desertification was there. And in 1998, Rotterdam Convention on hazardous chemicals in international trade. In 1998, Aarhus Convention to access for information, public participation, and access to justice in environmental matters. 2001 convention was also important because they are because of the industrial growth and different products that we use, the environment is flooded with this persistent organic pollutants, so that has to be looked into. In 2013 Minamata Convention on Mercury was actually signed and then came into effect. So I think I do not need to explain the EIA process because the whole 1 to 12 week we have been talking about this only, but I will give you a quick recap so that you guys now, I think you guys can easily relate to this EIA process flow chart. Okay, so first thing is project screening. So how do we do screening? So basically the notification with the government of India is published, so we classify the project group A, group B, and then B1, B2. Okay, and based on that we do whether an EIA is needed or not. Then we do scoping, which impacts issues should be considered. Okay, so if we are building a cement factory, then certainly we'll see the effect on the ground, land, water, everything. Okay, description of the project development, etc. Then we define the baseline, then identification of the key impact is there. Then the secondary prediction of the impact, evaluation, assessment of significance of the impact, identification of mitigation measures. So in I think week 7 or 8 something we read about these things in how these impacts are calculated. Okay, presentation of findings in the EIS. Okay, review of the EIA, decision making, post decision monitoring, auditing of the prediction and mitigation measures. So in every all these three we have public consultation and participation. Okay, so which of the following property define? So before that, let me see if you have any questions. Okay, so Varsha has actually asked, sir, is short answer question come in the exam or assignment pattern come? So no, Varsha, mostly the question will be like assignment pattern based question only, MCQ type. But MCQ type has two type of question. One is where a single answer is correct. Then we have multiple answer correct questions also, like you see in the assignment, or fill in the blanks may be there, or true or false may be there. So mostly these type of questions come in the exam, but it depends on the professor that whether a short answer question may come in the exam also. So please be prepared. Mostly 90% of the time it's I shared Abhiri is saying I shared a jam file with the meeting. Okay, let us click and see what is. I don't know very what is this jam file about, but it says the access is denied. So, do you have any questions or something? And Varsha, don't worry, you will receive detailed instruction about the exam in the announcement section also, and on your Gmail also. So please keep checking your email through which you have registered for this course. Okay. Let me check this jam mode if there is anything which needs to be discussed or something. Uh, I don't know actually. There's some problem with accessing this jam file. Okay, so no problem. We'll look into that later. Um, so before that, is there anything which you want to ask? So if there are no questions, can I should I ask the question like what do you feel about this term sustainable development? Anyone in simple words, I don't want the definition. What do you feel about sustainable development? What is a sustainable development in your terms? So if anything is environment friendly, is it sustainable also? Okay, Nobel has said without any harm to environment. This is what we think. Okay, so we think that without any harm to the environment. But if anything, something is a hell lot of environment friendly. Everything, if a product is there, it is very much environment friendly. But is it sustainable? So basically, in simple terms, if tell you the term meaning of the term, we sustain an environment or to protect the environment for the use of future generation without harming anything. This is actually the term meaning of the term sustainable is. We are sustaining that. We are sustaining. We are passing the resources to the future generation also, so that they it doesn't hamper their utilization potential. Okay, so this is what sustainable development is about. It is not about only harming to the environment. It has a very broad meaning. It consists of economy also. It consists of society also. So social and economic, everything comes into that picture. So because we will have future generation also, so whatever level of resources which we are using, we should not consume extra, so that their capacity to utilize the resources get hampered. Okay, so let me give you an example. So we are producing electricity from coal now. Okay, and let's say we have 500 million tons of coal available in India. Now we become greedy, and then we produce hell lot of electricity. We consume 400 million tons of coal. Now what happened, we consumed 400 tons of coal. Coal is a fossil fuel. It is non-renewable resource. It will get renewed in some thousand, 10,000 of years. So that only for future generation, what we are leaving, only 100 tons of million tons of coal. But what we should actually uh, uh, do is to think of uh, I think a very what we should actually keep the level same. So whatever we are utilizing, we should not utilize their portion also. Okay. Hello, sir. I am not able to understand the question number 7 is week 12 assignment. So actually a very week 12 assignment is I think submission date is still there. So we have been instructed from NPTEL team set not to discuss the current assignment. So don't worry, I have the question from previous run of the assignment. We will solve that, and maybe a similar nature of question you will find in this assignment which I will discuss today also. Okay, so don't worry about that. Okay, so I think we should move to the next question, otherwise we'll be late. So which of the following property define strategic environment assessment? So basically it's saying about strategic environment assessment. So scale of the impact in national, regional landscape, scope of impact is localized or specific, detailed output or short-term time scale. So whenever you talk about strategic, so it is talking about scale, how large the scale is. Okay, so basically scale of impact in national, regional and landscape. So this is the property that defines the strategic environment assessment, a process that aims to integrate environmental sustainability consideration into strategic decision making. And who makes the strategic decision? So it is made by government, and government is national, regional, and then we have localized government. And the main differences between SEA, you have heard the term SEA and EIA. So SEA basically nature action strategy vision plan. EIA is constructor operation actions. Okay, and we have macro, and this in micro, local side, broad in scale and magnitude, localized. So this you can go through. Okay, for different between SEA and EIA. SEA, if you say, we have a video also for this strategic environment assessment. So basically, first thing is screening, then we have a scoping, then we have analysis, then we have decision making, then we have monitoring, and then in between consultation and public participation is there. So the process is actually this, something like this: scoping, assessment, review is there, then we have everything, environment, social issues are also looked into, stakeholders, information, influencers. So everything is actually looked into. Okay. Environmental impact assessment assesses produce likely impact of a specific development project. Okay. Ensures adequate environmental monitoring and management plans being carried out at every stage of project. Over time, people notice certain gaps, advancement of another process similar to EIA, which could consider environmental issues in the planning process itself. So earlier, what we had, if we plan for a project, then we go for a EIA, but it is saying no, within the planning itself you implement this EIA. Okay. In 1980s, some countries started to evolve guidelines, procedure, and law envisaging environmental assessment of policy plans, programs, and legislative acts. Okay, strategic environmental assessment, extending EIA from projects to higher tier of actions. Primary task in SEA process to analyze proposed acts, policy plans, programs, other strategic plans of the government and institutional body through environmental window before the implementation stage. So this is planning level, planning process, impact assessment. Okay. So this actually kind of interconnection between the planning process and whatever decision we take during that, and then in the implementation process itself. Okay. So let's see this video where you will get a lot of knowledge about how the protocol and the strategic environment assessment is there. Okay. you can if you are going through the weekly lectures, I think you can easily solve this type of question. Like you can see the different compliance information, account complete information, clear, or information is sufficient for decision making or not. Okay, let's see environmental impact assessment, identifying relevant issues and concern from the beginning. So this is very important kind of animation or something developed by American Development Bank. I think I should play it here. then it can cause a lot of damage to environment. Then to restore that environment, you need to bring a new project that will actually cost you a hell lot of things. So EIA does a very good task of actually looking into significant thing that needs to be focused. Okay, so is there any question which you want to ask? Okay, so if there are no questions, then I think you guys can go through the questions which has been discussed, or anything from the videos which I saw, or any other thing which you want to ask. Please feel free to write it in the chat box. Okay, so I just okay. Okay, so is there anything you guys want to ask? Please go through the lecture slides and then see. Actually, I have uploaded these lecture slides earlier, so you can go through the lecture slides and see if there is any question which you want to. So whatever taught up to uh, this time. Okay, so nothing you want to discuss? Okay, then I think we can move to the next question then. Match the following generic structure of EIA document given in group 1 with their description in group 2. So in group 1 we have introduction, project description, description of the environment, anticipated environmental impacts and mitigation measures. So for introduction we generally state the purpose, okay, purpose of report, identification, okay, project proponent. So this is okay, brief discussion of the nature, size, location of the project. It's important to the country, region, scope of the study. Then we have project description, which is basically content description of the aspects of the project likely to cause environmental effects. Details should be provided to give a clear picture of the following type of project, need of project, location, size, or magnitude of the operation. Then we have description of the environment, study area, components, and methodology. Establish a baseline for valued environmental components identified in the scope. Base maps of all environmental components anticipated. Okay, details of investigated environmental effect impacts, measure for minimizing offsetting adverse environmental impacts identified, irreversible, irretrievable commitments of environmental components, assessment of significant impacts, mitigation measures. Okay, so correct answer is answer C. So this is what structure of EIA report actually looks like. Okay, introduction, project description, discussion on anticipated, analysis of alternatives, environmental monitoring program. Okay, and then all these contents are there: additional studies, project benefit, environmental cost benefit analysis, EMP, summary conclusion. Okay, disclosure of the consultant engaged. So this is how environmental so if you want to see the environmental impact report for a thermal power plant, so you can click on this link or go to this link to get a good idea about this environmental report. So let's take environmental impact from the coal mining. So this will give you idea about what can be the different impacts that has to be considered. Okay, so now moving to the next question. Match the following generic structure of EIA document given in group 1 with their description in group 2. So we have group 1 analysis of alternatives like you see in the EIA report structure itself in the last slide. The environmental monitoring program, additional studies, project benefits. So analysis of alternatives, so you see the different alternatives and then evaluate them. So it's basically a description of each alternative, summary of adverse impacts of each alternative, mitigation measures proposed for each alternative, and selection of alternative. Then we have environmental monitoring program, that is you monitor the different technical aspects and then effectiveness of the mitigation measure which you propose. Okay, and additional studies, public consultation, risk assessment, social impact assessment, RNR access plan, action plans, project benefits, improvement in the physical infrastructure, improvement in the social infrastructure is there. So physical infrastructure, if some project is there in village, comes to the village, then certainly the roads and then schools and then everything, houses, everything will be better before earlier than it was earlier. But improvement in social infrastructure is also seen in some types, like more and more social cohesion can be seen because of working in a similar place, or like you can see. So this was put in the last slide also, then I put additional studies so you can see the contents here. So these are actually the contents of a EIA report which you see. So every EIA report is more or less same, has some same structure or something. So if there is something else is mentioned in terms of reference, so that has to be translated into this EIA report actually. Please, so we have this environmental monitoring, so I put a video so that you can actually see how the environmental monitoring and IoT is actually helping in this environmental monitoring. Novel is asking, sir, all the question in the exam MCQ type? Yeah, Novel, mostly the question will be MCQ type, like you have in the assignments. Like there will be single answer correct question or multiple answer correct question also will be there. Okay, and then we have true, false, or match the following, which you see in the assignment questions. So most of the questions will be like this only. Don't worry, you will receive a detailed instruction about the format of the exam before the exam. I think 4 or 5 days before the exam, or 1 week before the exam, you will receive that. So don't worry about that. Just keep checking the announcement section of the NPTEL SWAYAM website, or you will receive it on the email also. Railway projects come under the purview of EIA as per notification EIA 2006. No, railway projects don't come under the purview of EIA. The main reason is that railway projects actually passes through because railway lines are actually shortest distance lines. So uh, to make these are strategic investment. So that's why EIA are actually not implemented for railway projects. So, but for metro lines, actually, everybody has prepared this EIA report for Line 1 Metro Corridor Depot and Substation. The reason was that this was funded by Japan International Cooperation Agency, that is JICA, for Mumbai Metro Line 3. So it was a requirement of that JICA. That's why EIA was actually prepared for this. Okay. The MOEA, Ministry of Environment and Forest, Government of India, notification 14 September, and its amended dated 1st December and its projects in the schedule that required environmental clearance. However, as per said notification, a metro project does not require environmental clearance from MUA. Then use in the question it was asked that railway project don't need environment clearance, but the scope of study is framed as per JICA guidelines for environmental and social consideration. The objectives of JICA guidelines are to encourage project proponents to have appropriate consideration for environmental and social impacts, as well as to ensure that JICA supports for examination and environmental and social consideration are conducted accordingly. So EIA reports for the project Metro Line 3, that is Kolaba Bandra Sibs, was prepared because of the requirement of International Funding Agency JICA, Japan International Cooperation Agency. So this is a true statement actually. So this was the line actually for which the EIA was actually conducted. So you could see here. Okay. The purpose of the project was to decongest the existing public transportation and increase mobility across regions. MMRC through MMRC considered services of rights to prepare a DPR and the social impact study for the corridor of Kulaba Bandra Chiefs, covering a total length of 33.5 kilometers. Okay, so actually, Mumbai is actually has a good network of, I will say, public transportation, but they are very congested. So to take out this congestion, a metro line was actually proposed. So funding agency MMRC has planned to get funds from JICA, Japan International Cooperation Agency, for the construction of Mumbai Metro Line 3. The scope of study is framed as per JICA guidelines. Okay. State true or false. Separate report for social impact assessment for Mumbai Metro corridor was prepared. Yeah, this is true. This is also as per the requirements of JICA actually. So yeah, updated social impact report was actually prepared, and you can see the report's overall project impacts, how it was measured. Okay. Now the question is, how do you measure social impact? So let's see this. How to measure this social impact. So you are doing a social impact assessment, but you need to know how this social impact is actually measured. got to know about this social impact and this how social impact is actually measured. So this was actually very much explained in this video, did in a not so comprehensive way, but brief idea was given how this social impact, why social impact is getting measured, how it is, how you can assess it. Okay, so I think if you have any question, please feel free to post it here in the in call messages, or you can always ask by raising your hand or something. Okay, so I think if there are no question, then we can go to the next question of the assignment. So yeah, this question is about World Bank's operational policies and guidelines include the following: environmental assessment, natural habitat, or indigenous people, physical cultural relationship. So basically World Bank guidelines include everything, because World Bank funds a lot of projects and they provide funding for these projects. So they have guidelines, they have natural habitat, indigenous people, physical cultural resources. So correct answer is 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so you can see the guidelines here. World Bank Operational Policies Guideline (OP). So there was a number also. You OP 4.01, OP 4.04, OP. Okay. So for environmental assessment, the bank requires environmental assessment of projects proposed for bank financing to help ensure they are environmentally sound and sustainable, and thus improve decision making. So you see the international organizations, especially those who are linked with the United Nations, are actually more into this. Whatever financing they are giving, they it has to be utilized for environmentally sound and sustainable projects. So it doesn't cause much pollution or something. Okay, natural habitat. The bank requires borrowers to incorporate into their development and environmental strategy analysis of any major natural habitat issue, including identification of important natural habitat sites, ecological function they perform. So likewise, we saw that coal mines. Okay, so what was that? Those that coal mine was funded from some government, some like US government must have funded it, but it doesn't consider the natural habitat or something, but the habitat for flora, the biodiversity for flora and fauna, which got lost because of that coal mine project, is actually uh, caused irreparable damage. So that has to be looked into. So these, whenever these funds are to be given, so these things have to be taken into consideration. Pest management, involuntary resettlement, indigenous people, forest, physical cultural resources. Okay, the borrower needs to address impacts on the physical cultural resources in the project's proposed for bank financing. Okay, safety of dams, project disputed areas, projects in international waterways is there. So first thing is that key you must wanted to know that what is a World Bank and what how International Monetary Fund and World Bank. So this is actually, that's why I put this link here. So we'll see these two links, and then 7 billion dreams one planet consume with care. So why it let's first understand this World Bank thing, what it is. And so Novil is saying, sir, please share your recorded class. Novil, all the lectures are actually shared. Let me show you. Actually, I don't know why you guys are not getting these lectures. So I am NPTEL. So you go here, then you log into the NPTEL, sign in, sign in. Let's go to my courses. Then you have this environmental impact assessment. You see here a problem solving session tab. Click here. and click here. Okay, so you see all the videos here. This is from TA1, this is from my videos. Okay, so all the weekly videos has been recorded and uploaded here. All the links have been shared. Okay, directly share the link. See if it does open directly, or if you can access it. Otherwise you can always go there and see the video. Okay, let's see it. Now let's see this. Sorry, this video doesn't have caption. I, Okay, so move to the water aerodome projects come under the purview of EIA as per notification. False. Water dome projects doesn't come under the purview of EIA. These are strategic projects, like you can see here. Okay, Directorate General of Civil Aviation or something. Considering the water aerodrome are just emerging in the country as a new mode of transport involving sea river, it likely impacts on including flora and fauna. The EAC had taken a view to follow the EC process as per category of items. So airports of the Schedule A of notification according to terms of reference were recommended by EAC for the project development of water aerodrome Nicobar. So this was true. Earlier it was not under the come under the preview of EA notification, but now they are thinking that this has to be on similar nature of how do we do airports. Okay, since water aerodrome is an emerging area for the purpose of EIA, case study method was also used in the EIA project development of water aerodrome Air Nicobar. Yeah, it's true. Reference case study was there, Harbour Air Vancouver. Okay, so this was water aerodrome type of project. Then Maldivian Transair, then Kenmore Air. So if time persists, we can see this case study. Uh, uh, Otherwise, let's move. Ecosystem services has been covered in the project development of water aerodrome Nicobar. So it's false. Ecosystem services have not been considered because you can see the panel raised concern over Andaman water aerodrome, the aim of project you can see here. However, the management plan submitted by the Andaman Nicobar administration does not address the impact on the mangroves of the project. Okay, so let's see the ecosystem services by because it has been talked about this asked in the question, so you need to understand what are the ecosystem services. Okay, priority services, all those services are there. Okay. Okay, then we have this. What does IPG in the terms of environmental impact assessment stand for? It's island protection zone, okay, not industry protection zone or industrial park zone. Okay, so CRZ is there. So CRZ mapping as per island protection zone notification. So this was the notification for CRZ, island protection zone notification 2011. How IPZ is different from CRZ? What is IPZ? Okay, so all those things you can go through and read. What is the aim of IPZ? IPZ notification is in its preamble to draw attention to the need to provide livelihood security to local communities such as fisherfolk and tribals. Okay. How IPZ is different from CRZ? The provision which are only found in the IPZ have been highlighted through this document. So coastal regulation notification. Okay. Compared to CRZ, the IPZ is more inclusive of traditional local human settlement fishing activity, also more provision for tourism related infrastructure development on the islands. So you can see the different demarcation mapping the ICRZ, cleaning the course, change rules by the center paved way for tourism projects in the Andaman and the S projects. Okay. Island coastal regulation zone maps were prepared on the 1 to 4,000 scale for project development of water aerodynamic. So this is true. Okay, this is was the map 1 is to 4,000 scale. So first you need to know the coastal zone management. I think this video is great for strategic environmental assessment for local plans. So I think this has been done. Deals where represents of sustainable. Okay, stage one is setting the context. Okay, stage two deals with developing refining alternatives. So what all choices you have in terms of alternative. Stage 3 deals with preparing the sustainability appraisal report. Stage 4 deals with the representation on the sustainability appraisal report from public consultation, and then post adaptation resources and monitoring. So correct answer is 1, 2, 3. But I think this question was actually done in the question 1 or 2. So I put additional content here. So I think the lecture, most of the assignment question is over now. All of the assignment questions. So I put a video about what is EIA and why is India's new EIA draft problematic. So it's a very good video from the Hindu. I think you should see it. And if you have anything to discuss, I'm free here to discuss. Please feel free to discuss because this video is actually based on your assessments, how you view the environmental impact draft reports. EIA and why the new draft is actually problematic for EIA. So I think we have enough time so we can see this water aerodrome, uh, which was the I think Maldives water aerodrome case study. Hmm. It's a big uh, seaplanes operation. It's a big actually. Let's see this. Uh, I think with that, we finished our lecture. So yeah, we saw this video. So thank you all. And you can always find me at this email ID, or if you have any question, please feel free to post it in discussion forum. And we will have a summary session tomorrow of 2 hours where I will try to summarize everything which we have been taught in this overall EIA environmental impact assessment course. So that will be mostly about the things which we covered and discussed. So I will open each and every slide from 1 to 12, and then I will take some important concepts and discuss with you guys. Thank you all for coming for this lecture. Thank you. So good night everyone.